Welcome to the Rotary Club of Wellington, serving humanity from the heart of Wellington since 1921. Welcome back to the James Cook, which is a normal buffet meal today, noting we're here for the next 3 as well. At the President's table today, sitting in Dame Susie Moncrief's seat is Chris Parkin, just keeping it warm. Nice to see you, Chris. Dame Susie will arrive about 12:50 in time to be able to dress. I won't tell her that, Chris. And Kerry today will do the introducing and thanking, and John Gibbons is the sergeant. And it's great to see a number of partners here today as well. Please just check your mobile phones are off. And that you're wearing your name badge, or you've got a brief moment to pick it up when we have a fellowship break. Peter, if I could ask you to introduce Carolyn, please.
Yeah. One of the members is called my spouse, Carolyn. She's come on to speak today.
Welcome in, Carolyn. And Helen, your guest, please.
I'd like to introduce Beatrice Hugh. Beatrice works in the Flying Fighting Squad, and she has the title Squadron Leader.
And Patrick.
I'd like to introduce my partner, and just shows if you're the right speaker, then you'll get the partner to come in.
And Brian, please.
Yes, I'd like to introduce my guest, Sally, who's come along for the speaker as well. So looking forward to Chris or us.
Welcome, Sally. And Alexandra. Thank you. So, Anna, welcome in to all our guests. A couple we haven't seen for a while, but Sarah Owen, it's nice to see you back in Wellington for 6 months. Sarah's remained a member, but has been working out of the Hawke's Bay, but is back here for a 6-month piece. But it's lovely to see you back as part of the club. I'll invite World Travellers returning. Just the one. 2, sorry. And World Travellers departing. William, have you got time to do your project?
Yes, I've already got time.
Safe travelling. And I would invite Helen, just briefly, on birthdays. Dave Henderson on the 21st, Martin Matthews on the 21st, and Jane McCann on the 25th. Just as arriving, while I was pausing, we've got Judy and Victor and Alina from the Island Bay Marine Centre arriving for the 5-minute address. Helen, could I invite you to say grace, please?
I'd like to use a dedication today from George Bennett Shaw that's fitting for Rotary. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live it, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I've got to hold up for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks, Helen. We'll go straight into the sergeant session. I'll invite John Gibbons to come up and fleece you.
Mr. President, fellow Rotarians and guests, my first task is a simple one. Two people at the top table think everyone knows their name and they don't ever bother to put their name tags on, so I have to find them both. Chris and Kerry assured me that everyone knew them and they didn't bother ever to put their names on. It was coincidental that on the way here today I got into the lift at work, and there in the lift were three others. They were like this. I said, "How are we?" They grunted. I thought, this is human nature. Bloody telephones. I walked down the street, and on the way down Willow Street, I counted 10 people. 2 of them I nearly knocked into because they weren't looking. They were their heads down. Telephones. I came here, and rather personal, but I had to go to the toilet. I sat down in the cubicle, and someone in the cubicle next to me was there, and they said, "How are you today?" Now, I've been talked to in some funny places, but this rather blew me away. I replied, I'm fine, thank you very much. He went on, he said, "Well, what are you doing?" I thought that was pretty obvious. However, not one to give away not answering questions, I replied, "Actually, I'm relieving myself." Next thing I hear, "Sorry, Bill, some smart Alec in the cubicle next to me keeps answering all my questions. I'll have to ring you back." So my find today is, first, for everyone that has ever used their telephone in the toilet. Secondly, if you walk down the street texting or telephoning anyone, pay up. Thirdly, if you've got a telephone, pay as well. That really wasn't what I planned to talk to you about today anyway. It just happened. As a double Olympian, I found watching TV over the last month somewhat tiring. I didn't get too much sleep, and I found myself regularly watching shows all night, particularly the last week with the Paralympians. Unbelievably good. So I thought for 5 minutes we'd just see how much we paid, how much attention we paid to the Olympics. There's the medals that we won in the normal Olympics, Paralympics. The others, of course, I shouldn't say just others, but it was shooting, cycling, rugby sevens and gold, all won 1 medal each. Rowers didn't do as well as they had hoped, but however 3 medals wasn't too bad. As an ex-rower, of course, I watched that with interest. Can anyone tell me how many medals we won? Well, 18 it is. If you're quick with the arithmetic, you'll get that one pretty quickly. But the more interesting thing I thought was the medals per head of population, which perhaps sort of puts it into perspective in a country like ours, which only has 4.8, 4.5, I'm not never sure how many. Do we know how many gold, where we ran in the number? Second, we got some per head of population. Now we're talking about the real Olympics. No, nobody guessed it. It was actually 5th. But of all medals, we were 3rd. Interestingly enough, Grenada, Bahamas, and won a gold and a bronze. They were ahead of us in those numbers. I do think, however, that the Paralympics was something special, particularly with our Blade Runner and our wonderful swimmer, Pascoe, Sophie Pascoe. And there we did much better. The number of medals, perhaps to start with, do we know how many medals we won in the Paralympics altogether? 21. Somebody at the back there was right. Everyone else can pay if you're not sure. But of that, we won 9 gold, 5 silver and 7 bronze. 21 medals. And in the gold numbers, we were 2nd place. But, sorry, 1st in gold and 1st in all medals. in terms of performance per head of population, which I think was a fantastic effort for New Zealand in the Paralympics. Second in the gold was Australia, and second in the all medals, Netherlands, and third Australia with 21 medals. I think if you haven't already paid up, all of you who obviously walked here are able-bodied, except maybe some sore elbows, but able-bodied should contribute to that wonderful ability to be able to come here and also to watch such wonderful athletes perform. Thank you.
Thanks, John. And we have one 5-minute address and one 2-minute membership address. The 5-minute address is the Island Bay Marine Centre, and we have Judy and Victor and Belina here today, and I'd ask Helen Hancock to introduce them, please.
President Mark, fellow Rotarians and guests, I'd like to introduce to you the Island Bay Marine Education Trust. They happen to be my neighbours, and I first noticed them because of the noise that comes from their place. Now you might wonder what that noise is, but I see it to be busloads of children who come in and they line up in front of the octopus house, and they're addressed by adults wearing shark suits and carrying octopus and other such things. They've been the beneficiaries for the Jumbo Tennis Tournament for 2016 and 2015, and they're here to tell us what they're going to do with the $10,000 we've given them. Thank you.
I'm ready to go. Now where's the, oh there he is. No, I'm just joking. Sorry.
I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity of speaking, and thank you Mark and Helen for the introduction. We're absolutely delighted to be the recipients of the Jumbo Tennis funding again this year, and we're going to put it to very good use. Like Helen said, we see a huge number of school children visiting us in Island Bay each year, and we receive partial funding to host them from the learning experiences outside the classroom program from the Ministry of Education, which is a fantastic initiative, and we've been the very proud recipients of that funding for how many years now? 20?
Yep.
Yeah, it's our 20th year of operation. But we don't get any funding for kindergarten groups and special needs groups or the social groups who visit us. The people out of rest homes, we don't get funding for them. So the $10,000 that we have been very, very lucky to receive this year will go towards providing educators for those groups with funding to continue what they do. So we're absolutely stoked about that. We'll be able to keep on seeing the little kids who are like sponges. They sop up all the information that you can give them, and they come back with their schools and they spout off what Victor and Judy have told them. They tell their parents, no, you've got to put that spotty back, it's not big enough. Victor would growl. But to me, the best thing about the Jumbo Tennis Tournament was seeing Victor dressed as a lobster.
No, she was the mermaid.
Yeah, I was a mermaid, but he was a better lobster than I was a mermaid. And we had an absolute ball. So if anyone here is thinking of being involved in Jumbo Tennis again the next time, go for it. It's heaps and heaps of fun. It's a wonderful initiative, and we were just so proud to be involved with it. And thank you to our over-the-road neighbour, Helen Hancock. She keeps an eye on us. We can't do anything without her knowing. So, yeah, thank you everyone here. Would you like to
The lobster suit, if you want a real costume, the lobster suit is brilliant, except don't wear it after it was like 80 degrees or 86 degrees. It was great. It was a boiled lobster suit. It was fun. We had a good time. Thank you so much for all your support, not just for the last 2 years, but some of the people in the room, Chris and other people who have been here, have supported our programs since we started way back when. I think we've had 3 mayors, especially Kerry, who's been incredibly supportive of our programs, and our vision for a new center. And if I could just mention that we are on that path again. We've just started the resource consent stage, and that'll last for about 6 months, and then next year we hope to come back to you to say, now it's time to make your own personal views known to the public, and when we go through our submission stage. So it'd be brilliant if we can count on some of the people, or all the people in the Rotary, to say that this is something for Wellington. It's not just for a particular group. Because we see the future as all these little eyes that look at us and look forward to the future for them. So thank you very much for this opportunity to get a chance to talk to you like this, and we will be back, as he said.
Judy and Victor, thank you for what you do in making a difference. Membership, is there a designated 2-minute? Anthony.
Only 2 minutes.
This will be a challenge.
Thank you, President Mark. Right, 2 minutes brought to you by the Membership Committee and the number 2. So 2 objectives from the 2 minutes. The first objective is how to invite a person to become a member of Rotary, and why. And the why has 2 parts to it as well. Part of the why is why encourage someone to become a member of Rotary, and secondly, why should they become a member of Rotary? And they're 2 different questions, but they are linked. And we can answer the should, why should they become a member of Rotary, with very rational reasons. They're the reasons why I joined, because of personal networking, because of the opportunity to meet with some articulate, well-informed people who can share with me different worldviews. And I'm really looking forward to meeting those people in our club. You can't get voted out of this club, can you? But I also knew people who were Rotarians, and I admired them, and I thought, well, if they could make the time in their lives to be members of Rotary, then perhaps I should check it out also. But ultimately I joined because someone asked me, in that gently persistent manner that Mr. Stuart Brooker is well known for. Now, I encourage people to become a member for all of those reasons, those rational reasons, but for more reasons than that as well, because the reasons why I remain a member expand it beyond the reasons why I joined Rotary. I am a member now because of the networking, because of the opportunity to share with so many of the people in this room and beyond this room, because of the values that we share. The people who are a significant body of men and women in this club and elsewhere in New Zealand and around the world who share values of commitment to service, fellowship, integrity, diversity and leadership. And I think if we ask ourselves why we joined and why we remain, that's a good step towards why we should encourage people to become members. And just 2 points about how, because the how is somehow less important, I think, than the why. And the 2 points about the how, in my view, are that we should talk about what we do as Rotarians. And it's a good test, perhaps, for all of us. How often do we spend a Monday morning, perhaps with our friends and associates, talking about the golf over the weekend, and perhaps don't talk so much about what we did with Rotary over the weekend or during the past week? And if over a course of time we talk about the so many things that's made possible through our involvement with Rotary, then people around us become aware of the opportunities that are available. And the second point about the how is to just simply actively look out for people that we think might make good members of Rotary. And then, like Stuart, and he didn't always get it right, but just to simply ask them. And a final point, yes, we want to have more members of our club, But for many reasons, perhaps the time of the meeting or the range of activities, this club may not be suitable for our friends and associates. So just remember that there are many different clubs out there, and no matter what club we encourage people to join, a bigger, expanded Rotary is good for Rotary, and it's good for our community, and it's good for the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm not sure how many you can fit into 2 questions or 2 comments. But it's good going. Thank you. As we break for fellowship, I'd like to welcome in Dame Susie and Gisela Carr, the Chief Executive. It's lovely to see both of you here. At this point, I'll invite everybody to be back by 1. Please go and grab a coffee and dessert and come back in. Thank you.